Between 1945 and 1950, 5 people vanished in the mountains of southwestern Vermont. No bodies, no struggle, no witnesses, just gone. They weren't part of the same group. They weren't all the same age or gender. They didn't disappear at the same time of year or even on the same trails. But there's one thing they did have in common. They all vanished within the same remote forest patch of land, a place that earned an eerie nickname, the Bennington Triangle. This series is going to break down those disappearances one by one. Each victim gets their own episode, but today we're not starting with a person, we're starting with a place. Because to understand what happened to those people, we first have to understand where it happened. And maybe, just maybe, why. The Bennington Triangle was coined in the 1990s by Vermont author and folklorist Joseph A. Citro. He used it in his book Passing Strange to describe a loosely defined area of land in southwestern Vermont known for unexplained disappearances, strange sightings, and unsolved crimes. Unlike the Bermuda Triangle, this one isn't drawn with clean edges. There's no GPS boundary line where things get weird, but most people agree the triangle centers around Glastenbury Mountain, with its corners stretching out toward the towns of Bennington, Woodford, and Shaftesbury, and sometimes reaching as far as Somerset and Glastenbury, which, spoiler alert, is now a ghost town. Think of it like this. If you were to draw a triangle on a map with Bennington to the southwest, Glastenbury to the northeast, and Somerset to the southeast, everything inside that shape, including Glastenbury Mountain, falls into the triangle's ominous territory. It's remote, it's heavily forested, and it's strange, both in terms of history and what people say they've seen. Let's talk about Glastenbury, the town that time and nature forgot. Glastenbury was officially incorporated in 1761 during the days of colonial New England, but it didn't really get going until the mid-1800s when the timber industry moved in and logging companies laid down railroads through the hills. It wasn't a big town. Its population peaked around 241 in 1880, but for a while it was busy. A local company called the Bennington and Glastenbury Railroad hauled lumber down from the slopes of Glastenbury Mountain. Workers lived in town, cut timber, and sent it out by rail. But like most boom towns built on natural resources, it didn't last. By the 1890s, Glastenbury Forest was stripped bare. The land couldn't be logged anymore. The economy collapsed, and in 1897, a massive flood wiped out much of the railroad infrastructure. That was the final nail in the coffin. By 1937, the state of Vermont officially unincorporated the town. It no longer existed as a functioning municipality. Today, only 8 people are said to live in Glastenbury, most of them off-grid. It's a ghost town. And Glastenbury Mountain, the centerpiece of this story, sits right in the middle of it. Long before settlers arrived, the indigenous people of the region, specifically the Abenaki, believed Glastenbury Mountain was cursed. They didn't settle it. In fact, they avoided it. Some Abenaki oral traditions claimed the mountain was bad ground, a place where the 4 winds fought each other, creating violent and unpredictable weather. Others said it was home to a powerful spirit that took people who wandered too far into the woods. There's a legend of a stone on the mountain slope, a, quote, man-eating rock, that swallows anyone who stands on it. Obviously, that's folklore, not fact, but when stories like that survive for hundreds of years across cultures, they tend to leave a mark. It's worth noting that indigenous beliefs about cursed land are often rooted in real dangers. Unusual animal behavior, unstable ground, or unexpected natural phenomena. So even if the mountain isn't cursed, it's always been seen as dangerous. And here's the thing. Modern hikers say compasses don't work properly on Glastenbury Mountain. The readings spin or freeze. GPS devices can glitch or lose signal. Whether that's electromagnetic interference, heavy iron deposits, or something else, it adds to the mystique. So now we've got a place with ancient warnings, a failed town, and a mountain known for disorientation. And it's about to get worse. From 1945 to 1950, 5 people disappeared within the Bennington Triangle, all under different circumstances, all without a trace. Let's run through them briefly, because each of these people will get their own deep dive episode, but for now, here's the overview. Mitty Rivers, November 12, 1945, a 74-year-old local hunting guide. He knew these woods better than anyone. He was leading a group of hunters near Hell Hollow in the Glastenbury area when he got a little ahead of them on the trail. They never saw him again. Searchers found nothing but a single bullet casing in a stream, believed to have been dropped from his belt. Paula Welden, December 1st, 1946. An 18-year-old college student from Bennington College. She went out for a solo hike on the long trail wearing a red coat, no backpack, and no gear. Multiple people saw her that day, then nothing. Despite national media coverage and a massive manhunt, not a single clue was found. Her disappearance led to the creation of the Vermont State Police. That's insane that someone disappears and boom, now there's a state police force. James E. Tedford, December 1st, 1949. A 68-year-old veteran and resident of the Bennington Soldiers' Home, he boarded the bus in St. Albans to return to Bennington. Witnesses saw him on the bus as it passed through multiple towns. But when the bus arrived, he wasn't there. His luggage was still in the overhead rack. His ticket was still in his pocket. He vanished while in motion. This thing is getting in my way. Paul Jeffson, October 12th, 1950. An 18-year-old boy who was riding with his mother in a farm truck. She left him near the Glastenbury woods while she fed some pigs. When she came back, gone. He was wearing a bright red jacket. No one ever found a trace. And Frida Langer, October 28th, 1950. A 53-year-old experienced hiker who slipped and fell during a hike near Somerset Reservoir. She told her cousin she was going back to change clothes and would catch up. She never returned. But unlike the others, her body was found 7 months later in an area that had been extensively searched. No cause of death could be determined. So 5 people, 5 very different situations, but all within a small geographic window, all unsolved. All within 5 years. At first glance, these cases seem unrelated. Different ages, different circumstances, different routes. But let's dig into the similarities here. All disappearances occurred in or around Glastenbury Mountain. All victims were alone at the moment they vanished. Most were wearing bright clothing, red jackets in at least 2 cases. Search efforts were large scale and organized, but no tracks, no evidence, and no bodies were found except for Frida's, and hers turned up in a place that had already been searched. The disappearances occurred in a short 5-year span. Coincidence? Maybe, but the more you dig, the stranger it feels. In 1892, a man named Henry McDowell murdered another man with a rock, claiming he was hearing voices. He escaped in an asylum and was never found. In 1897, John Harbour was shot dead while walking near the same woods where Paula Welden would vanish decades later. No suspect was ever caught. In the early 1900s, multiple reports came in of wild men or beasts seen around Glastenbury Mountain. Bigfoot style stuff. Like, maybe, what's that one? Wendigo stuff, like you never know. Descriptions varied. Some said it was a tall, hairy figure. Others said it was a man dressed in animal skins watching from the trees. This region has always been strange. The 1945 to 1950 cluster just put it on the map. When 5 people disappear in 5 years from the same area, you get theories. Lots of them. Let's break them down. 1, we have environmental hazards. Glastenbury Mountain isn't just spooky, it's actually dangerous. The terrain is rugged and unstable, so it's easy to fall and vanish. Sinkholes, unmarked mine shafts, and hidden ravines dot the area. The dense forest swallows sound, so even if someone screamed, you might not hear it. Weather shifts fast. Fog, rain, and snow come in suddenly. The theory says people weren't taken, they were lost, and the woods buried the evidence. 2, serial offender. Some investigators believe the disappearances are linked to one person. The theory: a hunter, hermit, or local living off the grid who knows the terrain. He could have been stalking remote trails and targeting lone hikers. But there's no physical evidence to support this. And why would he stop in 1950? Still, it's not impossible. And serial predators often do go uncaught in rural areas. 3, misadventure and coincidence. It's possible that these cases are tragic but connected. Mitty Rivers and Frida Langer were both older. Accidents happen. Paul Jeffson was a child, could have gotten lost. Paul Welden may have been the victim of a crime unrelated to the triangle. Tedford's bus disappearance, though, that's the one that really defies logic. This theory relies on randomness, but too much randomness starts to look like a pattern. 4, this is where things get weird. Not confirmed, but very real to the people who live there. Time slips. Some believe that there are thin places on Glastenbury Mountain where reality blurs. A person steps into the wrong spot and simply vanishes, like crossing into another time or dimension. Vortexes and portals. Linked to electromagnetic anomalies, some hikers claim to feel watched, hear disembodied voices, or experience sudden panic. Compass and GPS malfunctions are common. The Bennington Monster, a Sasquatch-like creature said to roam the woods. First sightings go back over a century. Some say it's a spirit guardian of the land. Others say it's just folklore. UFOs. There are multiple UFO reports in the Bennington region, especially in the 40s and 50s. Were these people taken by something from above, or did military activity nearby have something to do with it? None of these theories are probable, but in a place where logic fails, people reach for what's left. One thing's clear. People did try to find the missing. Paula Welden search 1946, over 1,000 people joined the search, including the FBI. Planes were used, bloodhounds were deployed, the terrain was combed for weeks. And that search led to something major: the founding of the Vermont State Police in 1947. Paul Jeffson and Frida Langer in 1950. Hundreds of volunteers helped. The National Guard was called in. Dogs lost the scent near swampy terrain. In Frida's case, the area where her body was later found had been searched multiple times. Tedford in 1949, it was mostly a paper trail. His case didn't trigger a physical search because it happened on a bus. But his vanishing in transit is one of the most baffling disappearances in U.S. history. Despite all the manpower, nothing turned up, except Frida's body, and even that gave no answers. The Bennington Triangle isn't just some old mystery. People still report strange encounters there today. Recent public reports include people getting turned around on trails they've walked dozens of times. And being somebody that's been out hiking, if you've done the same trail like a crap ton, it's kind of hard to get off of it. Hikers hearing footsteps following them, only to find no one there. Unexplained lights in the skies. Sudden feelings of dread or disorientation, especially near Hell Hollow. A few more recent disappearances, though none as publicized as the 1945 to 1950 cluster. There are rabbit threads, local forums, and message boards full of creepy stories from hikers, campers, and even rangers. Most aren't verified, but they all paint the same picture. This place has a reputation, and it's earned it. So why open the series with all this background? Because the Bennington Triangle isn't just a location, it's a character. It's the thread tying everything together. Each of the 5 disappearances we cover next happened under different circumstances, but always in the shadow of the same mountain. This same cursed trail, the same dead town. And now that we've mapped it out, we're ready to dig in. In the next episode, on Cracked Relic, we'll be heading back to November 12th, 1945, the first of the 5 modern disappearances. We'll go through the timeline, the terrain, the witness accounts, and what exactly was found in the aftermath. You might think this one has a simple explanation, but wait till you hear the details. Thanks for watching this episode of Cracked Relic, and stay tuned for the next episode, Gone in the Pines, the disappearance of Mitty Rivers, where we cover everything deeper on him. And, as always, sources are down in the description and coming up